Hi, Steve. So thank you for seeing me today and telling me about Despicable Me 3. It's fantastic
My
to
pleasure.
be here. So I saw the film last night. I think, is it fair to say it's very different to the first couple of films? I think we're seeing a very different Gru, I think.
Yeah, there's a different dynamic going on. The first one, obviously, he adopts these 3 kids.
Mm-hmm.
The second one, he falls in love, gets married. And this third one, it's a little bit more difficult. He loses his job. He's dealing with having a family and a new wife, and so there are lots of subplots as well going on. Not the least of which is discovering that he has a twin brother that he did not know existed up until this point. So there's a lot of information. There's a lot of transition going on in his life right now.
Yes, I mean, I thought the transition is almost sort of complete from master villain to sort of loving stepdad.
Right.
I thought it was complete, actually. I thought that's gone really well, and that really came across to me.
I think that's true. I think that's one of the reasons the Minions decide that they don't want any more of this, because he is now a suburban dad. He's embraced that role. He loves it, and he doesn't have any more pull to become a villain, until of course he meets his brother, and then things start to shift slightly.
Of course, and there is that dynamic with his brother, isn't there? And was that quite difficult for you to sort of play those 2 roles and sort of switch between them so quickly?
It was fun, because Gru is such a how would you he's grumpy.
Mm-hmm.
He's a grumpy, cynical guy, and at least he was more grumpy in the first one. He's lightened up a little bit in subsequent movies, but his brother Drew, his twin, is very happy and ebullient and silly and very lighthearted. So I kind of predicated the voice on that, that he is coming from a different place emotionally.
And I loved the scene, actually, when they were having the dinner and the 2 brothers swapped places
Oh,
and
right.
came in.
Yeah.
I mean, hysterics, actually.
Yeah,
It's great.
playing a joke.
But Lucy as well, I kind of thought with her role, she's really adapting, or trying to adapt, I think, as his stepmother, which I think sort of by the end of the film she sort of does. But there are those moments, aren't there, where she I think maybe tries a little bit too hard, is sort of finding her feet.
Yeah, she's struggling with it, and she's trying to be the best mom that she can be. And it's tricky, because what does that actually mean? Does it mean that you are, I guess there's a term, I don't know if they use it here in the UK, called a helicopter mom, which is a mom that hovers over everything and is aware of everything that their kids are doing. And so she's sort of in that realm at this point. She's trying possibly a little too hard.
Yeah, actually, you saying that reminds me of a couple I know where they're both law enforcement officials on your side of the Atlantic, actually, and the stories I hear about what they do with their kids are just hilarious.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, oh, I bet.
Right, yes, I just want to sort of ask a couple of sort of fatherhood-focused questions,
Sure.
if that's all right, because I mean, the film's got that sort of subplot there with Gru and being the stepdad. I mean, so first of all, I guess I'm just going to ask: do you find it hard coming away from the family and doing this type of thing when you're over here?
I do. I miss them. I tend not to take movies or any sort of work that takes me out of time for too long a period. A few days here and there is fine. But I like to be at home, and I like, especially they're young. Well, they're 13 and 16 now. But as they were growing up, I just didn't. It wasn't worth it to me to miss any of their events, to miss any of their childhood. That was a decision I made early on, that no matter what, I was going to try to be around.
Because I know I've got the 2 daughters, one who's 4 and one who's 8, and I just wondered if you had any advice, because I'm noticing now I've been a father long enough to sort of really see those transitions as the kids change, as what they get into as they get older, and you've got the teenage kids now. So would you have any advice for dads, or indeed mums maybe, as their kids are growing up and their interests change?
I don't know if it's as much advice as an observation. Each stage that we had our children, like the toddlers, or now they're from adolescents to teenagers, they each period of time seems like this is the best. This is, I don't want them to change. I want to encapsulate this moment. But then the next stage they go to is equally as wonderful and great. And then you start thinking, I don't want them to change now. This is the best moment, not that last one. This is the best. So it just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah.
But it's not getting better and better. It's just you're changing, they're changing, and you're appreciating the fact that they're growing and becoming different people.
Yeah.
And so I think just appreciating the ride and taking it for what it is in that moment.
Yeah. In fact, just going right back to when you became a father, I read a beautiful quote you came out with, which I wanted to ask you about. It was in Esquire magazine, about how you rocked your first edition after your daughter was born. 'Cause you just wanted to go and do it. You just wanted to get back to the family. I think that's a feeling that a lot of men will relate to. You know, they just want to get back to the family. Mum is often there with the family, I guess, in most families. But
Yeah. No, it's really true. I think it gives context. Once you have children, when we had our first child, our daughter Annie, it's exactly right. All I could think about was getting back to her and to my wife and to enjoying those times together. And nothing else seemed to matter quite as much. Certainly not my career. And hence, everything I auditioned for at that point went great because I didn't care anymore.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying too hard anymore. I was still enjoying it, but I was more interested in showing the people I was auditioning for pictures of my new daughter, and it was it was fulfilling and relaxing, and I guess I felt so much more complete than I ever had in my life. It's like a void had been filled that I didn't even know existed, and it's a remarkable. I mean, as your readers know, it's a remarkable thing.
Okay, just getting back to the film for a minute. Do your kids watch all your films? Have they commented on?
They watch some of them. They certainly have seen all the Despicable Me's.
Yeah.
I don't want them to see Foxcatcher anytime soon.
Yeah.
That might be a little intense. But they grew up with Despicable Me. My son was was a toddler when the first one came out.
Yeah.
So they've really grown up with the series, and they
Okay.
love it.
Yeah.
They think it's. They can't wait to see this one. They keep asking me for insider information.
Well, in fact, I went home last night. Obviously, my kids knew what I've been doing, and my youngest daughter, she's already declared that this is her favourite of the three films. And of course, she's not even seen it yet. But,
That's good. That's good for us. That's good for the movie. If that's already been declared.
Right, Steve, I can thank you ever so much for your time.
Thank you.
That's great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Pleasure. I'm here. I'm here to answer whatever you like to ask me.
Okay. In which case, I'm going to be really cheeky. I've mentioned my two kids. They're huge fans of the films. Could you just do a little message to them?
Sure.
Yeah.
What are their names?
Helen and Izzy.
Helen
And
and Izzy.
Yeah.
Hello, Helen and Izzy. This is the voice of Gru saying hello, and I hope you enjoyed the next movie. Goodbye.